So we're going to start with the special teams. I mean, obviously, special teams isn't the highlight of everybody what they're talking about. So that's where we're going to start with it. It's still a very important thing to talk about because I mean we just lost Cade York, probably the best kicker, one of the best kickers in LSU history, if not the best. So you got some holes to fill because also Avery Atkins is gone, the guy who kicked him off and punted. So I guess we can start with punter. So we got two pretty big punters, Zach. Peyton Todd, Jay Bramlett. Peyton Todd was the number one punter in the country in the class of 2021. Jay Bramlett was the number one punter in the country in the class of 2019. Obviously, Jay Bramlett signed to Notre Dame. The kind of cool tidbit about Jay Bramlett is he is the number one punter in the country. He's from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Why did he not go to Alabama? That's what I want to know. Like, why was he not being recruited as a number one punter in the country? As bad as Alabama's special teams has been sometimes. Like, what are we like? Come on, Alabama. And he was also their starting quarterback and a great pitcher. Like, so you can use him. Like, he could be like in a fake play. The dude's thrown the ball in football games before. Like, anyways, the fact that he went up from Tuscaloosa to South Bend blows me away. But he transfers and he comes and follows Brian Polian, LSU's new special teams coordinator, to LSU. We're glad to have both of them. Zach, word on the street is Peyton Todd can punt the ball really stinking good. Yes. But Jay Bramlett has the experience. Obviously, like I just said, he played football. He played quarterback. Maybe you could do some things with him on special teams, some trick plays, whatever it may be. Who do you think gets the nod there?
I think Jay Bramlett is going to get the nod because of the experience. I mean, I don't think Brian Kelly brings over his 3-year starter at Notre Dame to come and ride the bench. So I do think Jay Bramlett is going to be the primary starter. But listen, Reagan, as you said, Peyton Todd can boom it. And I think, if you get in a situation where you're backed up and you need to boom one and reverse the field, put Peyton Todd in there. Jay Bramlett is more of a precision guy. He can pin the offense deep against their own goal line, and sideline to sideline is very accurate in where he needs to place the ball. But if you need to get out of a jam, out of your own end zone, put Peyton Todd out there so he can boom one because he's got a massive leg, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't think it's a problem if you put him in there, but it's all going to depend on who they trust the most. Who's taking the snap the best, and obviously bringing in a guy like Jay Bramlett who has a 3-year experience at Notre Dame. He's going to be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, Jay Bramlett obviously wasn't there for the spring game yet. I gotta agree. I think Bramlett's going to be the guy. 3 years experience. I mean, he came down here with the special teams coordinator. I think that kind of gives you a tip to what it's going to be. I'm pretty sure Peyton Todd took a red shirt anyway, so it's like he's a freshman this year. So if this is Jay Bramlett's last year, I'm pretty sure. I think it is at least. That's 3 years that Peyton Todd has to punt at LSU. Right, and if let's say Jay Bramlett uses a COVID year, let's say he still has that year, that's still 2 years for him, for Peyton Todd to kick. But hey, I mean, look, you got to compete for the spot, and Jay Bramlett may come down here and that we don't know the conversations they've had with coaches. We don't know what's been said. He may come down here understanding, hey, the spot is not guaranteed, right? Like, you may have to beat this kid out. And from all understandings, like you said, Peyton Todd can flip the field. Let BK Takeover kind of put that, Todd can flip the field. Like, I mean, if he can flip the field, that's, I mean, possession, right, is like where you start on the field is a big part of the game. And if you need to get it out of there, Peyton Todd may be your guy. But just from all things, considering Brian Poliancombe, the experience Jay Bramlett has, it'll probably be Jay Bramlett, and I think he'll do just fine as well. I'm not saying he can't get far because I'm pretty sure he can if he's a 3-year starter over at Notre Dame. So I'm gonna agree with you there for Jay Bramlett. So next would be the place kicker, and this is going to be a big hole to fill. I mean, Cade York was LSU's leading scorer like last season, and is probably the best place kicker LSU's had in their entire history of college football, or of them playing football. So big shoes to fill. Now you got this kid named Damian Ramos, and I looked on this kicking site. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was I can't remember, like Chris Sales Kicking or something like that. And it's a recruiting site for kickers because I mean kickers, special teams specialists are not the big time recruited players. And this guy's scale was like 6 stars, and 6 stars meant he was a Power 5 starting kicker. Like freshman year, he's going to start as a Power 5. Ramos was a 5-star, which was a Power 5 kicker. Maybe not freshman year kicker, but he was a kicker. He was here last year. He redshirted, so he's a redshirt freshman coming in. He kicked a little bit in the spring game, did fine. I read the little article on the page about him. It said he can hit it from like 55. So I mean, he's got range from what that site said. But Nathan Dibert coming in is a guy who was highly recruited as well. 247 had him as the 6th ranked kicker in the country. Cole's Kicking had him as the 2nd ranked kicker in the country. And Cole's Kicking is a little bit bigger of a site than whatever I was reading before. But and he also went and competed in this national kicking competition and won it. So, I mean, honestly, I don't know. If I had to give a nod, I would say Nathan Dibert is your guy. Of course, he wasn't here till the summertime either because he was a 2022 class commit. So that is definitely going to be an interesting thing to watch and to look for in fall camp and at the start of the season, because that is a big question mark for me. Like who's going to take over? Is it going to be the true freshman? Is it going to be the redshirt freshman? Because that's really what you got. I mean, other than those two guys, you have Trey Finson, who is a preferred walk-on transfer from Northwestern State. So it's either probably going to be Ramos or Dibert. So if I had to say somebody, I would say Dibert, Zach. That's just who I'm going to go with.
You also have Ezekiel Mata as well. He transferred in from California. So
sure.
There's 4 guys. There's 4 guys that can kick the football as place kickers. And I think part of the reason, and this we can lead into this, is because one of those guys is going to be specifically a kickoff specialist. LSU has had it great with special teams these past few years with Cade York, and you're not going to replace
Avery Atkins. Avery Atkins is about a guaranteed touchback every time.
Every time. So I think the reason you see this many guys is because you're going to have a kickoff specialist and you're going to have somebody that's going to be specifically for kickoff duties. And I have to agree with you. I think Nathan Dibert, however you want to phrase it,
kicking your field goals
out. I think he's going to because, dude, I don't know if you've seen, but that dude has massive thighs. I mean,
Pause.
Pause. But the dude has massive thighs. Like, I expect him to be able to boom it. And that's what you need. You need somebody that can kick the football very accurately and who can kick it at long distances. And I think Nathan fits that mold the best out of all those 4 guys. I think somebody like Ezekiel Mata or Finson will probably be your kickoff specialist. Because because I think they want to have somebody that strictly does that, so where the place kicker can strictly just worry about kicking the football through the goalpost. So I think I have to agree with you there, but I think a reason that you see all those four guys is because you're going to have two different guys doing the two different things as place kicking and kickoff specialists.
Now, one thing I will point out when it comes to special teams, for a long time, for whatever reason, the quarterback was he was the guy who held the field goal, right? Took the snap, placed it. That's kind of going to the wayside in football. You kind of want a specialist doing those special things, right? You don't want to take your quarterback away from practice to practice that, right? Like have another specialist
and to risk injury
and risk. Yes, yeah. I mean, I never. Now looking back at that, I'm like, why did football ever do that, right? Like I just, but I that's kind of going to the wayside, and specialists are the guys who are going to do it now. And I think the guy who would do it is definitely Jay Bramlett for LSU, because the dude played, as I mentioned earlier, played quarterback where he was at high school, and he's thrown a football in game, right, in football before. So, if you ever want to run a trick play or whatever, you can do it with Jay Bramlett. Zach, lastly, I don't think this is up for much debate. I think Slade Roy is your long snapper, the transfer from East Carolina.
About that hardly at all.
Right. Now, I will say this interesting little factoid, for like how many years? Was it like 8 years or so? The Ferguson guys were doing it.
The Ferguson.
Is that correct? Blake and Reed.
Yeah.
There is a new long snapper on the team. He's not related to them, but his name is Jonathan Ferguson. So, Slade Roy, whenever Slade Roy, if he finishes, if Jonathan Ferguson's got, we need to continue
the legacy.
We need to continue this. When I saw that, I was like, oh shoot, is this like a cousin? Is this like what is this? Who is this? And we looked it up. He was like from California. I was like, nah, that's no way. But that would be awesome. Just the storyline of the. I mean, they're two pro long snappers that came out of LSU. We have the DBU, wide receiver U. LSU is LSU. Long snapper U.
LSU is LSU. Really now? I didn't know.
The transfer from East Carolina, Slade Roy, is going to be your guy there. So that pretty much wraps it up for special teams. Not the most exciting discussion. We're going to get into discussion of all the things you want to talk about. But you got to talk
about who's going to be your return specialist, Reagan.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Punt specialist, return.
I fully expect
Chris Hilton
to receive punts.
Yeah,
and I believe there's going to be 2 running backs on kickoff returns. I think Josh Williams will resume his duties as a kickoff returner, and I think somebody like Trey Bradford, Armani will be on the other side.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I think Chris Hilton it fits the bill for it, right? He's kind of that lean, speed type of receiver. So BK Takeover said Ibieta, maybe so.
I've thought about Ibieta. He's come to my mind, but I don't know if he'll be the guy. We'll see.
True freshman, maybe not, but Chris Hilton, the whole thing with him is speed kills. So that may be the perfect spot for him to replace Trey Palmer.
Brian Polian has mentioned that they're going to put their best guys out there. Like, it's not going to be them putting in scrubs and walk-ons. They're gonna put
the best
skilled position players that
good
that are athletes. Like, I expect somebody like Harold Perkins to be on specials teams. I do.
Yeah.
Mike Jones, somebody like
Greg Penn, to be on
Greg Penn. I expect guys that are the future of LSU. Guys that may even be, vying for a lot of playing time to be on special teams, because Brian Polian has made that known.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, I think that's a wrap.